Hey guys, welcome back to Film Feud. I'm Angel Ramirez,
Marcus Nartatez.
and today we're going to do a little special video. As you all know, the summer's winding down, and even though it's been a little lackluster, we're going to give you guys our top 5 of the summer and our worst film of the summer.
Yeah.
So, I know we've had high hopes for some movies, been disappointed. We've also been surprised by some movies. So we're going to talk about it right now. So we're going to go right into our top 5, starting with number 5. Marcus, why don't you kick us off?
Our top 5, and this kind of just shows how weak of a season it was, I feel. Because this isn't a great movie by any means, and shouldn't be in my top 5. And we kind of stuck to more of the blockbuster movies. We didn't see any too many indie things. So don't freak out. We're sure that there's some better indie movies out there. But my top 5, number 5 is going to be Mike and Dave Need a Wedding Date. That's the one that starred Zac Efron and Adam Devine.
Yep.
Goofy comedy, good for what it was. There wasn't too many, I feel, comedies out there, so that's probably why I put it top 5. There are comedies out there, but just not this type of just dumb, goofball, frat boy kind of comedy.
A job of a comedy is to make you laugh, and I definitely remember laughing quite a bit when we saw that movie. So,
how about you?
So my number 5, I'm going to go in the same vein. It's also a comedy, but I actually didn't see this until a couple weeks ago. Neighbors 2, Sorority Rising. I'm a big fan of the first Neighbors with Seth Rogen and Zac Efron and everything. I think Zac Efron really comes into his own as a comedic actor. It's funny that we both have Zac Efron comedies.
I like him. He's grown on me.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think it's not going to be as good. It's not as good as Neighbors 1, but as long as, there was still a few moments that made me literally laugh out loud. And taking an experience like that and combined with the weak summer we've had, I think that earns it a spot in my personal top 5.
All right. I can't argue with that.
Number 4.
4. Jason Bourne, the 4th or 3rd, depending on what you're looking at, of the Bourne series. Again, this kind of just shows how weak it was for me this summer. Good movie for an action movie. It was a subpar Jason Bourne movie, and I think that's all you really need to know about it. It's good. As far as action movie goes, it's a good plot's kind of been there, done that, and kind of disjointed plot, but still entertaining. So I put it in my top 5 at number 4.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Jason Bourne. And for me, I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to put Suicide Squad as my number 4. I think this movie, it didn't live up to the hype because, the trailers were just amazing. It kind of was a little disappointing. But all that being said, I still think it's one of the most fun times I've had in a theater this summer. I've already seen it twice. Plan to go see it at least one more time. It was just, a great time just shoving popcorn in my face and reveling in the world building that DC is doing. Definitely a step in the right direction. Can't wait for Wonder Woman.
And just to kind of go off of that, Suicide Squad is not on my top 5 just because of the media blitz and the hype that it was supposed to be. It fell short. If I didn't have the hype going into it, I probably may have made it here, but I think they could have done a lot more with it. So it fell probably to 6, just right outside my top 5.
Yeah. So with that being said, number 3.
3, X-Men Apocalypse. X-Men is always kind of good for a good time. It's kind of one of those movies that they made a lot of them, and none of them, for me, except for First Class, have been oh my god movies. But they're consistently just good. And they do. You got to give them credit for the sheer amount of cast that they have and characters. And as we see with things like Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman, it's not the easiest thing to do to handle a whole bunch of characters. And I think if anything is X-Men series, they have that part down.
Yeah, I think going off of that. The biggest detriment to this movie for me is just how amazing Days of Future Past was, and that this one didn't follow up on it. I think that's the only reason it's outside of my top 5. I did have a good time watching it. James McAvoy, Patrick Stewart, they're all great.
Always.
But just not capitalizing on the momentum from the last one definitely did a disservice for me. So my number 3 is actually Finding Dory. I was not expecting to like this movie at all. You know, sequels, especially after Pixar came out with Cars 2, definitely turned me off to the idea. But this movie is right up there with the first Finding Nemo. I think they did a good job doing a different message, and working in the field that I work in, I felt a special connection with what they were trying to convey, and I thought it was a great family time at the movies, and definitely one of the best animated movies of the year so far.
And there's one big reason why that movie didn't make it on my list is because I didn't see it. Somehow I let that one go through. I believe I was on vacation in California. I had every intention of going to see it afterwards, but life gets in the way.
Hey, nobody can blame you.
I definitely will see it when it comes out. I no reason why I think you're wrong on that. It's Pixar, and
yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So our last two, we've actually have the same one, so we're just gonna tell you straight up. Number 2, we have
Star Trek.
Star Trek Beyond.
The third of the series.
Yep.
I liked it, not as much as this guy. He put it. He was having a hard time with this one in number 1 and where it should go. I had no problem with that. I thought it was a strong movie in a pile of mediocre movies for the summer. I thought it was one that stood out. It's not one of my top movies of all time. It's not even one of my top movies in the series. But it did make it number 2. It was very enjoyable. I liked it. I don't think I think it wasn't as good as the other ones. He disagrees.
Yeah.
But I thought it was good.
Yeah. So the Film Feud when we did this review was just on how much we liked it, and I loved it. I thought it was better. I went on record saying I thought it was better than The Force Awakens. It got me wrapped up in this world. It just hit me in a certain way where on our old scoring rubric, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I would probably, with our new one, I'd definitely give it a 9 out of 10.
You're good at math.
Yeah, because it was just definitely number 2. Obviously, funnest times I had at the movies this summer, and yeah, maybe the weak summer made it shine a little brighter, but for me, it definitely worked. So.
Number 2. And number 1, you probably have all guessed what it is. It's probably one on most lists.
Yeah.
Arguably the greatest comic book.
Definitely
to some.
arguably.
But Civil War.
Yep.
Captain America. Captain
2.
America.
Yeah. Avengers 2.5.
Civil War. It could have went any different name, any other name. But they stuck with Captain America. Nevertheless, it was an awesome movie. They kind of going back to X-Men. They handled the many characters very good. They gave the right amount of screen time to the new players that they're going to have movies coming up, where it got us excited for Black Panther. Even though we've seen Spider-Man a whole bunch of times, this Spider-Man I've never been more excited about. And I am a huge Spider-Man fan. I'm not sure if you see it. That's the one comic book tattoo I have on me. Who else was introduced there?
I think that was it for new people. I mean, definitely newer supporting characters like Martin Sheen that you're gonna see in Black Panther. I definitely think this movie had to handle an ensemble 101 because just introducing Black Panther, I was not excited for him. I thought he looked cool and everything, but coming out of that movie, he was my favorite part by far, hands down. The way they introduced him, you just felt this history within him that you can't wait to go see Black Panther, to go explore more of where he came from. And like you said, Spider-Man, definitely, this is Spider-Man. I have a hard time distinguishing Tom Holland from Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And obviously it's called Captain America, and it's no matter how many other characters are in it, it's still a Captain America movie. It never loses focus, and I think that the Russo brothers are poised for great things. I can't wait for Infinity War coming out in a few years.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. Actually, I can't wait for any of the movies that they're coming out with.
Killing it.
All right, that's our top 5. Tell us what you think. Your top 5 is below.
Yeah.
It's probably going to differ from ours, and but yeah. Now we're going to get to the not so good part of our podcast here.
Yep.
And it's going to be, we're not going to go through a 5. We're just going to say our worst movie of the summer. And for you, it was.
For me, I mean, you could probably tell from our review of it, but it's definitely Independence Day Resurgence. I think that this movie definitely won me over with the trailers. I wasn't excited when I first heard about it. Then I saw the trailers. It hooked me just like Transformers would, where like, hey, this isn't a bad movie. So I went in, looking for a good time, and I went in looking for a way to waste time and found out that it was a waste of time. I think that on the old rubric, I gave it a 1. This one, it bumps it up to a 2 out of 10. The lack of Will Smith makes there's no charisma in the film without him. And I think not only did they make a terrible sequel, they did things to the mythos that kind of soil the original Independence Day for me. And I think that's the biggest crime of this movie. Did not like it, not a fan, will not be buying it on Redbox or anytime soon. So
I didn't. Yeah.
Sorry, I got a little heated there.
Wow, you really didn't like that. That's close to my worst one. Only reason why I give it is I didn't put it there because, I mean, we've seen sequels that are horrible before, and this just falls in the long line of them.
Yeah.
It's almost just on par with with sequels, especially sequels like that come out way afterwards. Like things like Point Break.
Yeah.
Try to redo. That's more of a redo. But things like that come out like years. How many years was it between the two? 20.
Oh yeah.
20 years. That's
20 years exactly.
Yeah. So it's close. My worst one was the phenomenal game movie after a game, the Warcraft. I said that a little weird. I meant the game was phenomenal, but the Warcraft movie was one of the worst movies. Not I've seen this summer, probably I've seen period. Just because I actually thought this was going to be a dark horse. I thought this was I thought the trailers looked like shit, but I thought it was just going to be, it was going to be a good time. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
I didn't like their focus of the humans more than the orcs, because I felt the orcs had a much more powerful central story. I thought they should have went with there. I thought it was just a CGI mess. Even though it was good CGI, it was a CGI mess. I didn't like it, and I really hated the fact that they ended it kind of like how Lord of the Rings ended their first one, an open-ended. But Lord of the Rings was a good movie, so they did have that. You have that. They knew it was a good movie, so you had that thing, that leeway where you could be kind of, we're having a second one. This one shouldn't get a second one. It probably will because it did good overseas, from what I understand. But it ended in a way where I thought, you could tell the producers and the director thought it was such a good movie that it was guaranteed going to get a second one, and I hated that.
Yeah, I definitely.
Because I'm at the point where I have to see it now to see it to fruition, and I'm gonna have to spend another. By the time it comes out, probably ticket prices will be $15.
Oh. Don't get me started on that. But I definitely echo your sentiments. I think I understand what you mean about how this Warcraft was supposed to start a new franchise, and I fell flat on its face. I definitely was not a fan of this one. Echoing the same things, that orcs were more interesting than humans. They ended it like they were the next hot thing, which really turned me off from the whole thing. But I mean, there's no real wrong answer. There's definitely been a lot of duds this summer. Some hits, but a lot more duds than usual.
And I was very excited. I was saying this could be the best summer in 10 years.
Yeah, I was thinking it
Boy,
could be
was I
2008
wrong.
all over again. So that being said, that is our summer wrap up. Top 5 and our worst. As always, you can follow me at The Great Rambino, Twitter, Instagram at The Great Rambino _. Follow Marcus at
Marcus F. Nartetez.
very simple.
Very simple. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, well, we're going to be doing some other projects in the future. We're still doing reviews, but this time of the year, the movies kind of start to dwindle down.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely be doing those, but we're doing some. We're going to get into some TV shows in the fall.
TV tussle.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, we just did a reaction video. Link below of what we thought of the new Luke Cage coming out in September. Go check that out, and that's it.
Yeah, as always, you can follow us, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Google+, Hangouts. I don't really know if we're on there. At
MySpace.
MySpace, at Film Feud, guys. And that's going to be it. In case we don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Thanks for watching.